All right, this is for Sunday morning, May 19th questions. We're a couple of weeks behind. We're going to do a lot to try to catch up. The first question comes from an individual who wants to know about the term heart used in the Bible. Because clearly, for us, when we talk about the word heart, though we use it poetically the same way the Hebrews did or the Greeks did, clearly we understand the heart, the organ that's beating in the middle of our chest, is not the seat of thought or emotion at all. However, when I think some of this comes from the fact that when a person would have their heart broken, it would not hurt in their mind, but deep down in their chest or in their bowels, their body, And so when you get your heart broken, your brain doesn't hurt, your body hurts. And so I think what happened is that when normal daily life happened and you just engaged your mind, there was no emotional response within the head. But when you would have an emotional response, you'd feel stress in your heart. Your heart would beat faster. And so because of this, it got connected with the seat of emotion. That's not a bad thing. And the Hebrews knew they were speaking poetically about this. They used the word heart, mind, and soul relatively interchangeably. You remember that in the greatest commandment, you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your strength. That Luke includes heart and soul, mind, and strength. He adds one extra word there because for the Greeks, they separated the two. But for the Hebrew, the seat of emotion, the will, the spirit, the soul, described as heart or soul within the Old Testament, and distinguished it from the mind, what a person thought. So there's what a person feels and what a person volitionally decides and what a person does in terms of their spirit and worship is one aspect of their life, and they distinguished it from the upper, purely neuron firing mind thinking. And so I think that's what's going on there. When we talk about the contemporary idea of Jesus being in your heart, there's really not a lot of New Testament support for this. There's one verse in Ephesians which says that you allow the Lord Jesus to reign in your hearts. That's Paul's phrase. That's the only one in the New Testament I can find for that. But what we mean by that when we use that phrase is more the idea that the soul, the will, the emotions, the decision-making processes that are more than just discursive learning involve the seat of emotion. And it's more than just neurons firing, but it's what we feel in the core of our being. And so I think that's where the word heart comes from. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's kind of the etymology of the word, is that when a person felt something, they felt it deep in their person. When a person thought something, they basically kept it in their cranium. And the distinction between those two, what you think and what you feel, for the Jew is really 21st century. We're still using these terms, even though we know that you can go to the cardiologist and they can do all kinds of things to your heart. It doesn't change a thing about how you feel about life. But we still speak in this language, and that's because I think even today we know that when you make emotional decisions, it's deep down in the core of your being. And the most core aspect of a person's life is the beating of their heart within their chest. And so I think that's why it's a poetic way of describing something different than just what you think. All right, good question. Second question. Can you believe in God and not know His story? The answer is that in order to know God, there must be some element of knowledge about God for that to happen. In other words, it can't be just purely, I believe in God as some ethereal or just some spiritual element, almost the Force in Star Wars, with no real objective realities about that God. That would not be a knowledge of God. That would be a knowledge about the truth about God and the universe, but not necessarily knowing God Himself. To know God, there is some element of His story you must know. That He is Creator, that He has righteous standards, He's holy, that we have been made in His image and called into a relationship with Him, distinct from all other aspects of creation. Humans are unique in that regard. That a person violates God's standard and is in need of forgiveness, that God has sent His Son into the world to provide both a perfect example of righteous living, but also as a sin bearer for us so that we might be forgiven and redeemed and live with him forever, and that by believing in him we can have everlasting life. Now, you don't have to know a lot more than what I just said, if any, to be a follower of Jesus Christ, to have faith in him. But I do think that's a minimum amount of knowledge that is necessary for a person to know God. A person can know about God with less information than that, but they can't know God in a personal way without at least that much information. I think that's what the question's asking. If I didn't answer that, send me another and I'll try it again. All right, we'll see you guys Sunday morning.